And our first story, a 5-member committee established by the Speaker has cleared the Trades Ministry and officials of the Millennium Excellence Foundation of any wrongdoing in the cash for seats scandal. The report of the committee, which has been adopted by the House, concluded there was no evidence to back claims of extortion leveled by the Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak and Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa. There's more in this report.
The 146-page report was presented before the House Tuesday amid protest by the minority. The minority finally boycotted proceedings, pointing out that the procedure for debate on the report was not followed. The minority leader said MPs only received copies of the report Tuesday morning and cannot be expected to study the voluminous 146 pages within minutes. The House degenerated into heckling until the Speaker intervened and asked for the minority leader to be heard.
It's only fair and proper that Parliament members receive copies only this morning. So why the rush? Why the rush? Why are you in a hurry? I hope that Mr. Speaker, 146-page report in the interest of transparency and accountability. This matter cannot be railroaded. This matter cannot be railroaded through Parliament. And I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, that if the chairman wants to proceed, he knows our position. Mr. Speaker, 146 pages. As I'm talking, Mr. Speaker, I'm reconciling it, and many members will need to do a reconciliation.
The 5-member committee was set up by Parliament to probe whether or not expatriate businessmen were forced to pay monies to sit close to President Akufo-Addo at the Expatriates Award program last year, organized by the Millennium Excellence Foundation. Chairman of the committee, Akwesi Ameyaw-Chireme, in his report said, after hearing and evaluating the evidence before them, they came to the conclusion that there was no merit in the allegations leveled by the two MPs.
The committee, after the hearings and analysis and evaluation of the evidence adduced before it, has come to a conclusion that there is no merit in the allegations leveled against the Ministry of Trade and Industry as contained in the motion and which culminated in the setting up of the special committee.
Speaker, who contributed to the debate, including the Trades Minister Alan Chirmating, the Majority Leader Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, described as total waste of time and resources the probe into the scandal.
Parliament was going to be summoned exactly 2 days, 2 sitting days before the recall of Parliament. What indeed was the sense in this enterprise? The Speaker, it is one of the reasons why we said that this indeed was an abuse of the processes of this House. There was no compelling reason that justified such a recall.
Delivering his ruling on the matter, the Speaker, Professor Mike Okwe, directed the Privileges Committee to further investigate all the issues, including the alleged fictitious documents that came before the committee.
This is a very serious matter in view of all that took place. I direct that all documents tendered and the committee be referred to the Privileges Committee.
In a related development, lawyer for the Millennium Excellence Foundation, Charles Wentz, says his client is exploring the option of legal action against the MPs that brought the issue before Parliament. Speaking to the media after Parliament had cleared his client of any wrongdoing in the cash for seats scandal, Mr. Wentz described as disgraceful the lack of evidence during the probe by proponents of the allegation.
And as you could see in that report, the minority in Parliament, they described as laughable and a gargantuan cover-up the report on the controversial cash for seats saga. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu said his side of the House was dissociating itself from the report because it failed to, among other things, capture recommendations made by the Controller and Accountant General's Department when he appeared before the committee. And the majority also went further to argue that the Controller and Accountant General also failed to make available to the committee the bank account of the ministry and making it practically impossible to reconcile transactions between the Trade Ministry and the Millennium Excellence Foundation. The minority leader addressed a news conference by the minority after boycotting proceedings on the floor Tuesday afternoon.
You can go to the Hansard the day we were called back, not for purpose of swearing in any person for the purpose, but as Parliament, when we started this particular session, in my own opening remark, I was emphatic on it. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, if you see the minority dissociate ourselves from it, it is because we are convinced, beyond shadow of doubt, that the ends of justice are not being served, and we will not be part of a gargantuan cover-up.
A member of the 5-member committee that probed the allegation, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, said he was tricked by the chairman of the committee to drop what could have been a deal breaker.
In my meeting with the chairman, I thought that if that issue was going to be a deal breaker, and it threatened to be a deal breaker, it should be dropped. And I was under the impression that if the issue of gross misrepresentation or fraud were dropped, then they would have taken the rest of our report and integrated it into the report that has been laid before Parliament. I think with the benefit of hindsight, I was mistaken. And as I said, I regret that I dropped it because I could have addressed it in light of the evidence that was led.
The minority would, however, not pursue the matter in court, saying President Akufo-Addo's pronouncement in the controversy is an indication the administration and the majority in Parliament have their minds made up, and not even the facts as presented by the minority would get them to arrive at a different conclusion.
Now let's move away from Parliament. Jamming, dancing and all funeral activities have been banned at Area community after 6 p.m. as part of measures to sustain the peace in the area. Police have also been tasked to clamp down on illicit drug peddlers and users. At a meeting, leadership of the two groups have also agreed to organize a peace talk on February 18 to sensitize the youth of the community on the need to maintain peace in the area.
DASEC met yesterday on these disturbances at Ahua, and after that we decided to engage the people of Ahua as to how best we are going to resolve this issue. So we met this morning, and this is the outcome of the meeting. The issue that surrounds around this disturbances is not as a result of religious or tribal issues. It's just the boys and girls within Ahua that came about with this issue. So what we've recommended is the formation of a committee that will go into it, and then to see to it that this situation will not come again. That the police should put their heads together and then make sure that the selling and the use of drugs is controlled at Ahua. They will also come out with a resolution to ban the use of soroku. That's the what they use to call it. The use of soroku, so we don't use that. That after any funeral at Ahua, by 6 o'clock, all the funeral activities should cease. All funeral activities should cease. As soon as the chief mourner and his group leaves the deba grounds or the funeral grounds, everything should cease. That all those who have involved themselves in this conflict should face the full rigors of the law. Nobody should entertain anything. So chiefs and others were asked not to involve themselves in this issue. They should allow the law to take its own course. And on the 18th of February, we are going to organize a peace program where we have all the Muslims, the Christians, and all the people who are together. We invite pastors, imams, politicians to come and talk to this at the gathering. In addition to that, we are also making a humble appeal to IGP to open a police station at Tehran. So, in short, these are the issues that we discussed at that meeting. And we know this roadmap will help us to solve the problem at Tehran. And the police, they are still on the ground. They are making sure this issue is controlled. And I think because we have all these people, apart from our people, nobody can solve this issue for us. That's why we decided to involve the people of Washington. And we are happy we were able to get quite a number of people from the Zongo side, 2 chiefs from the Asante side, some religious leaders, pastors, and a lot of people. There's all the assembly members were also there. So we want to assure our people that the place is cool, but still maintain the military presence to avoid unnecessary or anything that may happen to us. So,
academic duties progress.
Academic work, yes, is in progress. We are protecting the place. We have police there. We are making sure that nobody will go there and attack them. So our academic work is going on.
Thank you very much.
And to fight more crime, the Ghana Police Service will in the coming weeks incorporate the use of ICT into its activities to help meet the fast-changing face of crime in the country and also beyond. Well, this the service believes is one of the key ways to achieve its vision of achieving a world-class status as a police service. The Inspector General of Police, David Asante-Apietu, at the launch of the Ghana Police Services Transformation Program in Accra, revealed 5 thematic areas to form the basis of the change, which will include a focus on improving police-community relations.
In community policing, we want to increase the public confidence in the police service. So we are engaging a number of stakeholders, including the state institutions, business institutions, the media, and think tank groups. In fact, already we have, in collaboration with the Youth Employment Agency, trained 6,000 community police assistants out of the intended 14,000. We're doing this because we want to share information and also get a feedback from the public. And the ongoing recruitment exercise is also to increase our numbers so that we can cover a huge number of places. Community policing. These are vehicles received from our strategic partners. And these vehicles have the state-of-the-art taps in it that if they are called, they will use the GPS to locate where the distress call is coming from. CID. A lot of programs are going on, particularly in the emerging crimes like cyber crimes. And what is going to also come is a training from the crime scene to the courts for every CID officer. We are also embarking on the special training on how to gather intelligence. PIPS, which is the internal affairs. We believe that if inspectors or the middle level managers are trained to coach the junior officers, this will reduce misconduct on the part of a junior officer. We have digitized some of our stations on a pilot basis. And now we have East Legon, Lungwa, Airport, Nima, and ministries having this, their complaints from the charge office to the court. It's now digitized. And we are doing this, and eventually it will go to every station in the country.
And before we go, Ghana has released 4,000 boxes of the life-saving nutritional snack, Plumpy Nuts, for distribution to malnourished infants in some parts of the country. The consignment, according to its nutrition specialist Lilian Selenge, will be enough to last until June, and also urge government to allocate more resources to purchase its own stock of the snack for the rest of the year. The 4,000 boxes released, according to UNICEF, Ms. Selenge, cost some $200,000, explaining with about $1 million more, government could also buy enough to go around for a year. The gesture comes just a day after JoyNews reported on the acute shortage of the snack pack in the Nanumba district of the Northern region, even though it turns out UNICEF has had its stock for at least a month. So we asked Ms. Selenge if UNICEF Ghana knowingly held on to the stock despite being aware of the acute shortages.
The good news is that UNICEF was able to mobilize some resources to buy approximately 4,000 cartons of ready-to-use therapeutic food, and it has been already sent to the northern regions, and we believe that the Ghana Health Service is now distributing to the various districts so that the needed children can be supported.
Do you have word if the Nanumba district, whose story we told on Monday, has received supplies yet?
We don't know yet. We will follow up during the week to check if the supplies will be received by Nanumba district.
Right. So this intervention is really timely, especially because of the situation in the Nanumba district. But what is your understanding of the situation in other parts of the country?
Okay. The issue of severe acute malnutrition, because this RUTF is for treatment of severe acute malnutrition. And this problem occurs in the 3 northern regions. They have the highest rates, but it also occurs in all the 10 regions, basically. So it's a national issue. So we estimate that around between 1% to 2% of children under 5 years are suffering from severe forms of malnutrition. And so that, translates to between 50 and 100,000 cases in a year. So it's a lot of children if you consider the condition in which the pictures that you were showing are in. 50,000, 100,000 is a lot of children.
Now, we know that the situation is quite dire in the Nanumba district. What I'm trying to find out is whether you know of any other districts in the country that find themselves in a similar situation.
Yes, there are some districts in central region, eastern region also. They do have severe forms of malnutrition.